Darkness Live Tribe, here we go. Can you believe it's been this makes 50 episodes?
No, like I can't. I never actually paid attention to the number. But then when I noticed you posted it was the 50th episode, I'm like, what? Are you for real? Like, how is this possible?
I know, right?
That means 50 people like us enough to come on and chat with us.
Right, yeah.
And I've loved every one of them.
And, you know,
I've loved every one of them.
Exactly. We laugh about that, but really and truly, without the guests and without you guys that watch, we wouldn't still be going. So
it's true.
It's awesome.
It's true.
Awesome. So, episode number 50.
God, that's wild. You know, that's funny because, and it's November. How the hell did that happen? I mean it. Like, Kenna called, my aunt called yesterday, and I was just like, oh my God, it's November. Like, how did this happen?
What?
And I don't know about you, but man, that time change, I really threw a kink for me, because I'm just like, this just doesn't feel right. Like, I'm ready to start dinner, like way earlier than I should, which, mind you, if you put the baked potatoes in the oven an hour too early, they're going to be very well done.
They weren't that bad.
Just to update everybody, anybody who might not know, which probably a lot of people don't know this, I stabbed myself a few years ago in the process of making baked potatoes. So, and I always say, operator error, make sure you have a good knife when you're using, making potatoes or whatever you're doing. Just be careful of knives, and cheap knives, especially ones that the handles come off. Yeah, don't pick the potato up and try to put the handle back on, because you will stab yourself. That's my public service announcement for tonight. It was a bloody mess, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it was.
It was a bloody mess. Hey, Carl, the good captain is watching.
When we got home that night, it looked like a murder scene. So when we got back from the immediate care, after you got all stitched up and everything, and they gave me the 3rd degree.
That was fucking funny.
I gave you the 3rd degree, actually.
Well, they kept asking me like multiple times, and multiple different employees of that urgent care place. What happened exactly? What happened exactly? Like, they did. They probably asked me 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, why do they keep asking me? Why? And I guess it's because I guess they thought my husband stabbed me. Well, you weren't my husband at the time, but. I guess they thought you might have got a little dangerous with a knife or something. I don't know. Anyways.
I can't blame them, though. I would have done the same thing. I mean, it's kind of a...
hey, there we go.
Yeah. Yep.
Duly noted. Yes.
I always, I always like put potatoes in the microwave for like 5 or 10 minutes before I put them in the oven anyway.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They don't have to cook as long in the oven that way. Kind of pre-cooks them.
Really clever.
Oh.
I'll make note. I'll make note of this. Anyways,
you still got to poke the holes in them where they'll blow up.
Yes, this is true. Watch out for the steam melting your skin off. Jared, is that from personal experience?
Kind of like Stephanie's little tip about using not using a cheap knife.
Yeah, definitely don't buy the cheap knives, people. Not worth it. Not worth it. I have a new respect for knives after that incident.
So, yep, he says.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, what's been going? You had a creepy experience the other night.
Oh, I did. So I was in the bathroom, and I was picking up the bathroom, and all of a sudden, like, I heard a kid yelling, like, outside the bathroom door, and I went out there to see what was going on, and there was no fucking kids upstairs.
Yeah.
Sophie,
the kids were downstairs.
Well, Sophie was in the living room on her tablet. She was quiet, and I was like, what the hell?
And I was just around the corner in the kitchen. I didn't hear anyone yelling.
Well, so. I sure did. Anyways, yeah, that was a little... Ooh, make the hair on my arms. What hair on my arms I have stand straight up, man. I don't care how many times you have a paranormal experience. it always freaks me out. Like it always catches me off guard. I think it's just because it's such a, not prepared for something that you can't see or, explain. Right. And then it's like, yeah. So anyways. So
that's a I don't know. We've got to get something going about getting a live investigation going at this place.
Yes.
Yes. We got to. We were going to do that here a while back, and things happened. We weren't able to, and then I toyed around with the idea of doing something like that on Halloween, but then we ended up with other plans. But then those fell through, so we might as well have done the investigation.
Well, they didn't. They didn't completely fall through.
No, well, no, but
you got to go.
Yeah, and it was fun, but it would have been better if both of us had been able to go. So.
Yeah, I know. Next year we'll be better prepared.
Yeah,
it helps if people pay attention to a time something starts. It's kind of a key thing there,
right?
Yeah. So, it's November. Time changed. Had the full moon. I just weird because I'm like, oh my God, I stopped at Dollar Tree today. Already got the Christmas stuff outside.
Oh my God.
5 and below. Already got the Christmas stuff sitting outside. I'm not prepared, although I did get all my Halloween decorations put away, packed up, put away, which I was proud of myself because I don't think any other year I've taken them down so quickly. I think I was just ready for blank walls again because I had this gigantic Beetlejuice mural thing on.
Well, we've had that up since like early September.
No, since like October 10th. Because that was for my other party, my slumber party I had.
Well, didn't we have it up before then?
A couple days.
For the kids' party?
Oh, shit. You're right. We did.
No, we had it up when Lena came. So
for Lena's birthday.
It was like September.
Damn. Beetlejuice was staring at us for a while.
Yeah, creepy.
I'm surprised they've never tried to remake the movie Beetlejuice. You think Michael Keaton would play Beetlejuice again?
Oh, I don't know.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Oh, God. And then Sean Connery died.
Oh, man. I know, right?
But, my God, he made it to 90. That's a lot better than a lot of people.
Yeah, we have a lot of witch friends on Facebook. And, so I have to admit, it's been kind of disturbing seeing all of the men in kilts memes with Sean Connery in his kilt. That's been a little disturbing.
Well, I actually haven't seen one of those, so I'll take your word on it.
Yeah.
Well, we're sitting on the precipice of tomorrow. This time tomorrow night. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Well, we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens.
All I really want to go into about it tonight is everyone do your duty and go out and vote.
Just remember,
no matter which way you vote, it's kind of your duty. So go out and vote.
Just remember, you can't bitch if you don't vote.
Yep.
Maybe that's like my motive for voting. I did my duty. I voted on Friday. So
yep, me too.
They even gave me a cool.
I thought you were going to sit down and cry when you thought for a minute there you weren't going to get to vote.
Yeah. I was struggling because which I feel like I'm not the only one here. I didn't know that when you update your address for the DMV, I did not know that it does not automatically update your voter registration. So thank God we checked the polling place to go to because otherwise I would not have known that I couldn't go vote. Thank God we checked because I was like, feel like I was in American Horror Story or something, like panicking, like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to vote. But the nice lady at the county clerk's office gave me instructions and I followed them. She even remembered me when I came in. I was like, she was like, I do remember talking to you. Yeah. I was like, yeah, it was pretty hysterical. So anyways, so you want to talk about our guest tonight?
Yeah. So tonight, we have
it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. A cool guy on named Johnny Hauser. If you're not familiar with his name, most of you should be, I would think, at least somewhat familiar with the Villisca Axe Murder House. And It's got a big, long story behind it. Well,
We can let him tell that.
Yeah, Johnny works a lot with it. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe he owns the Axe Murder House.
Are you jealous of his beard? He's got a great beard.
I am kind of jealous. Mine would be that long if I could get it to relax and not,
Break.
you
He's got a great beard.
But yeah, I am kind of jealous.
You should ask him what products he uses.
Well, maybe off camera.
Well, true, true. Anyways.
But yes, he's also known for his work on the G Crew podcast with the likes of Josh Hurd and Chad Lindberg and Nick Groff, and he's also known for his work on his Amazon series Johnny Hauser versus what? Versus whatever the fuck comes along, I guess.
I guess so, man.
No, but yeah, I watched a few episodes of that, and it was kind of cool watching him investigate the Villisca house and everything. That's always been kind of high up on one of the places I'd really, really, really like to go.
See, and I won't lie to you, until like summer of 2019, I'd actually never heard of it. And anyways, we were at the Paracon, and there was a booth that had some dolls laying out and like a newspaper thing. And, we had some downtime. So I just walked over there and was curious and this lady came up, started talking to me, and she's like, "Have you ever heard?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And she's telling me about the Villisca house, Axe Murder House. And I was like, "Oh," and then this guy in sunglasses comes walking over and I was like, "Hey, do you have any questions?" I was like, "No, man, she's good. She's covering the bases." And little did I fucking know that was Johnny that tried to come over and tell me all about it. And I felt like an asshole because I didn't know. I'd never, how could I have known? I'm sure that like maybe little old ladies, if they meet somebody famous that they have no clue who, I'm sure there's probably like videos of that out there. Like somebody meeting somebody famous and like no clue who they're talking to or whatever.
Right.
And it's kind of like gives these famous people kind of like a step back, like, oh, she hasn't heard of me. But I'm pretty excited about this show, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
All right. Well,
are we good? Can we call him?
Yep. Are you ready to try to get him on here?
Give him a ring.
He had I was actually going to try to get away from this week, but he had a deal going, so we couldn't dial him in beforehand. So we're going to just go ahead and dial him in live like we usually do. So, all right, here we go.
Oh, I thought you were going to, like, mumble the X-Files theme song. You know why I'm saying that. I still have hope.
Yeah, hello.
Hi,
What's
Johnny.
up, Ben?
How's it going? Can you hear me up?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yep.
All
I have my
right.
AirPods in, but one's working for some reason.
Communication is good.
Cool. So what's going on, man?
Just living the dream in Villisca. That's about it.
So, first off, we've got a few viewers on that might not know much about you or much about the Villisca house. So why don't you just give a little bit of a lowdown there?
Okay, so Villisca Axe Murder House is basically the home. It's a murder in 1912. 8 people, 6 little kids, 2 adults. I mean, it just floored the nation. Took the headlines off the Titanic. And basically, somebody came in, killed them with an axe.
Oh my God.
Every mirror with a sheet. Left raw bacon on the floor. Like, this person killed 6 little kids and 8 afterwards.
Oh my God.
It's a certain kind of psycho to do that, for sure.
Yeah, there's a special place in hell for people like that.
Absolutely. And I mean, nobody was ever caught. So a minister confessed in 1918, but his voices told him to kill, and a shadow gave him the axe. And he said he did it, then he said he didn't do it. Then he said he works for the England. I mean, he was just all over the place.
Wow.
But they tried him for the death of Lena Humphreys, tried him for the death of Ina, full acquittal. We have no idea. It's Iowa's oldest cold case at this point.
Damn.
Wow. So,
So
go ahead.
no, I have nothing. Go for it.
Well, that's quite a history. So,
That's fucking terrible,
yeah,
man.
that is. That's
especially if you have kids. Like, well, murder's terrible, let alone, but children, multiple. What the fuck, man? That's
Exactly. It's like, you don't mess with kids, period.
no.
But then to kill 6 little kids and then eat a meal afterwards, like that's just very cocky. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
wow. Holy crap. So, you came across the Villisca house. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you own the Villisca house, right?
Ish. No,
Ish?
I don't own it. I came here over 15 years ago, and a gentleman named Darwin Litt bought it. And he owned a museum, and he based that town talked about bulldozing it. And his big thought was, I'll buy this and the school, and we can do school tours for kids in Villisca. And that's pretty much his main idea. And then people asked me the night, he's like, why? Paranormal investigating. He says, what in the world's a paranormal? I mean, it wasn't a thought at all for him. He told me, he said yes because he said when you get old, it's more fun to say yes. That was what started the house. And then boom, a million different ghost hunting shows and regular shows and all that. But he passed away in 2011. His wife Martha took over at that point. And yeah, I mean, 15 some odd years later, I've just always been the guy, I guess. Maybe the road someday I will, but as of now, Martha owns it.
Very cool. Very cool. So, well, I mean, before we'll get more into the Villisca house a little bit later, but right now, tell us a little bit more about your background. What got you into the paranormal?
Oh man, shoot. I've always been weird. Whether it's like I can remember probably 10 years old, and I made out of Dad's plywood I cut out, and I'm sure they were great quality, but feet, and I strapped them to my feet, and I went clear out in the middle of this farm field, and I'm like, haha, I'm leaving foot tracks, and then I realized I am so far out in the middle of nowhere, and nobody's ever going to see me. So it went from that to aliens, to conspiracies, to monsters, to ghosts. I mean, just you name it. As a kid, I had Mysteries of the Unexplored Time Life books coming in the mail, Unsolved Mysteries during the 80s. Like, it's
I remember
just always
those.
been my life.
I remember those.
Oh, those were the best, and especially during teen.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
If it wasn't the true crime stuff, it was the ghost.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was
And
awesome. I never
Remember
could.
how?
I had a friend that had a subscription, but I never could. I never could get my parents to spring for it, but I had a friend that had a subscription, so I ended up with about half of his books. So.
Yeah. I think that's like the training guide for everybody our age in the paranormal. I remember the commercial. What hooked me was somebody bent a coat hanger in the shape of an Egyptian symbol and pointed it at Stonehenge. It shocked them. I'm like, holy crap, that's the key.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you do Josh Hurd's watching on Twitch. Awesome. So well, speaking of such, you work with a podcast too, right? The G Crew.
Yeah, and that was just kind of something that came together out of quarantine. Nick, Josh, and Chad and I would sit and chit chat, and we'd video chat out of boredom. Like, we should just do a podcast. We should let the world hear these ridiculous conversations we're having. It's kind of entertaining sometimes.
You know what, Johnny? I bet that it's some really good conversation, though. Like, I would love to just be a fly on the wall listening. Well, that sounds kind of creepy, but you know what I mean. I think that would be some really great conversation. So, everybody that's involved in your podcast also is involved in paranormal, correct?
Absolutely. Of course, Nick Groff, that one guy, the least popular of the podcast for sure. And then Chad Lindbergh, it's Ghost Stalkers, me and Josh heard. But we didn't want it to be a ghost podcast, And so, like, the guests we've had often have been Olympic gold medalists to October Sky was made after, to, just anybody that has a story, and that's what
cool.
It's like, let's just talk to interesting people because everyone's on a different journey and everybody has their own unique story. Like, we just want to hear your story. And of course, we've done all the paranormal people, just that's our interest for sure.
Yeah.
Right. That's really cool. That's really cool. That's kind of like what we do here. We have all people of all kinds of all walks of life on here. So that, again, we like to focus on the paranormal and not only that, but in pretty much anything metaphysical and witchy. But we it's the same kind of deal. It sounds like.
Yeah, I was a little worried with the Olympic gold medalist because I'm like, what in the world am I going to ask her? That's about as far as the other end of the spectrum me as possible. So I got her to talk about back in the day when you'd put Jolly Ranchers in bottles of Zima and it'd be like watermelon flavored alcohol.
Right.
So I got an Olympic gold medalist to talk about getting drunk. So accomplished.
Oh, that's awesome. So, if you had to pick, what would be your your craziest story with a paranormal experience?
Oh man, and kind of going back a little bit, like when I got to the Axe House, and it's before any of the TV shows coming. I didn't realize that people investigated in groups and had teams at all. So I just did it alone because I was the only weirdo that I knew. But luckily, when all the shows started hitting, that's when I met Nick Groff and the Kling Brothers and Dead Files, Kindred Spirits, and was able to learn of those guys. So I feel very humbled and lucky to have. My question asking was picking their brain. And I never investigated anywhere but the Axe House for a long time. And I thought, let's start going other places. I think one that for sure stands out was at the Sally House. We were doing a live broadcast for Google during Halloween. And I didn't want it at first, but they're like, oh, it's sponsored by Dickies. You'll get free Dickies. I'm like, okay, I'm in. So we go there, and down in the basement is the pentagram or whatever. I'm standing on it. I'm trying to get stuff, but nothing's happening. And I thought, well, if it was satanic and that's a pentagram, well, I'll do some religious propaganda. So I go, in the name of Jesus, do something. And I felt like a burn on the back of my leg. And I thought, oh, this is so awesome. I got scratched. This is amazing. I go upstairs, lift up the back of my jeans, and a bunch of hair missing off of my calf. And you could see around the edges, it's like somebody took a lighter to my leg and singed the hair off.
Jesus.
And you could smell it, the burnt hair.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Jesus has spoken.
Wow.
Yeah, so I go up to a Catholic church that there's like a Catholic college in town. And look, they had shop. I spent like $150 in holy water, crucifixes, this, that. I get back down there. Holy water bottles they're just decorative bottles. So I go back up and I find, like, I think this is the church. I walk in, there's a thing there, it's like, that's got to be holy water, right? What else is it? So it's like that scene off Lost Boys where they're filling up their squirt gun and like just dumping bottles in there.
Right.
Somewhat, I was halfway afraid I was going to get arrested. It's like, you're not going to get arrested for being in a church. Calm down. Go back down. I put the water on the pentagram. We investigate upstairs and throughout the night. At the end of the night, I go back down to get it. I pick it up, and the holy water is gone. It evaporated inside. You can see the condensation on the inside. Like they're sealed shut. But something
What?
evaporated that.
Whoa.
That's like not
It's-
possible. There shouldn't be. Wow.
Exactly. And so on the Ghost Adventures episode where Zach steps on a TV to get into the little hole of death or whatever it calls it in the basement.
Yeah.
That's my PC stepping on. I left all my gear there. We were doing video on PC, so I had a little TV I brought with. I left all my gear. I ended up it's like, I'll just buy new gear. I need out of this place. And I was weird for like 2 months afterwards, like very moody, very like little flashes of violence in your head, a little 2-second blip, like it was enough to make me find a church and go like twice a week for a while. You know, I was like,
Right.
dude, that really happened. Something burned hair off my leg.
Right.
Like I want on the opposite end of that spectrum. You know, but that was like the most profound thing I've ever had happen anywhere. Really, it's just
Wow. That's.
like, wow.
You know, I've been personally, I've been scratched twice at different locations, and yeah, that's it is. It's I've never had anything like that. You know, like something actually physically burning the hair off of me. But you know, I've been scratched across the base of my back twice at 2 separate locations, and it's a very how do you say in English, eye-opening experience for one.
Damn.
Yeah,
It's there's nothing like
it's
it.
just it's like, okay, there's a lot more to this than we see. You know, and that's impossible to happen. But you know,
Right.
I've never seen a ghost ever. I've seen shadow figures, which I can remember when shadow figures were aliens in the 80s. The interdimensional time traps. Interdimensional, can't even talk. Time traveler. Now they're who knows what. You know, I've seen many shadow figures, but I've never ghost.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, I've got. I know a lot of people that are in that same boat. You know, been doing this for years. I know one of my close friends has been doing this for every bit as long as I have. So 13, 14 years, and he's never seen any kind of an apparition. You know, he can count the shadows that he's seen on one hand. You know, so yeah. But you know, it's the fascination and the other experiences that keep him going. You know, it's just like he you know, if everyone has an experience, you know, he's almost always he will walk into the room 5 seconds after someone hears an audible voice, or sees a door swing shut, or sees a shadow walk across a window, or he walks in 5 seconds later and he's like, damn it.
Yeah, of course. I missed that. One of the weirder things I've seen was at Mount Banner. I was just staring at an exit door, right door, and it's, you know, one of those like halfway through the night, I'm just kind of like sitting there staring at the door, and I seen, and the best I can even describe it, something walked by. It was about hit waist, but it looked like a little kid stick figure, badly drawn, and it was very jaggedy walking. And I was just like, And I wasn't freaked out. I was just like mesmerized. Like, what was that? And I went home and I was obsessed with it. And I'm trying to look. I'd never heard or seen anything like that. And I finally found where paranormal stick figures or stick like made out of twigs is an actual thing that people have been seeing for a while. I've never even heard of that.
I was
So that's
today.
the first time I've seen something. Then found out it was a thing.
I was today years old when I heard of this. I've never heard of that either.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it looked like kind of Blair Witchy figure, little kid stick man figure drawn, but made out of sticks.
Wow.
And that's exactly what it was. And I was like, did Josh put something in those brownies that I ate earlier? Or like, what is happening?
Wow, that's awesome.
But then I looked it up and I found where there's this big thread where a lot of people have seen them. And they said when they see the experience, not being scared, but very like, oh, wow, intrigued, like they wanted to follow it. So it's like
Really? Well,
that's what I felt.
That's not creepy at all.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's this creepy ass looking thing walking across right in front of me, and all I want to do is follow it. That's wow. I'm gonna have to do some research on that now.
Yeah. It's. I found one page on it, and they had like a clay figure of like stick, and it looked just like it. But I'm pretty sure I told Josh that I wanted to follow it, and he's like, "Dude, do it." For it. He's like such a good friend.
Right? As long as it's you, not me. You know, is it like the two guys having to outrun a bear?
Oh my god.
Right.
So I have a question for you, Johnny. So what would be like the ultimate experience for you, paranormal speaking?
Oh man, I would love to like just lock me in actual Amityville house. I'm obsessed with that place. I want, like, if I had $1 million when it was up for sale, I would buy it and I would put those windows back in and I would just live there. I want to know if that place is legit because, you know, regardless of all the controversy, Ron killed his whole family in that house. Like, that really happened. So the chances of being haunted are pretty good, I would say.
I have to ask, do you have a wife and children? Should they be concerned?
It's all right. All good.
They probably don't need to be concerned any more than you would need to be concerned.
Well, this is true. This is true. You're not wrong.
My daughter is pretty well the same as me, and my little son Scout is like polar opposite. Like, Grace and I are wanting to watch horror movies, and he's watching Wizard of Oz, and we're like, yep, this is a night.
So can I ask how old your daughter is?
She's 12.
Oh, so have you taken her on any paranormal adventures?
Oh, all the time. I mean, she's been kind of right by me through all of it and for all of it. And I mean, because anytime a show's filming, I live next to the Axe house and Mary Peckham's house, the neighbor that found them, which is haunted. But anytime I was filming, like I'd tell, hey guys, go sit on that couch, soak up the air conditioning, don't sit out here in the sweat. So she's entertained the possible ghost hunter on TV, and they entertained her, you know, so she's been around it ever. But
that's awesome.
You know, when the very first paranormal convention I ever went to, they're doing a big panel, and it's a big, super serious thing. Kids should never investigate the paranormal and never do it alone. I'm like, well, I broke both rules already. So, like, come on, like, what kid played a Ouija board? What kid hasn't done Bloody Mary? What kid doesn't go to the cemetery?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's get real. We all that, and we're fine. You know?
Oh yeah.
I realized not investigating alone because of danger, but like obviously if a floor is caving in, I'm not going to walk on it. I don't know. I think sometimes things can be too serious. Because I've done all those. My friends have done all those. It is what it is, I guess.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, I totally get it. I had my oldest two out investigating with me when they were 13 and 14. And they went pretty much everywhere I did. The only
Yeah.
the only place I never took them was somewhere that I had a good reason to expect it to be something really dark.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
But
yeah.
outside of that, they pretty much went everywhere I did. So it was that. I mean, that was just family life for us. But
Yeah, it's good bond family experience. I'd rather have my 13-year-old with me on the weekend at this cool haunted place, look history, and learning how to ghost hunt and how to do it with respect and love to the other side, instead
Yeah.
of
right,
learning how to ghost hunt off TV. I mean,
right, yeah, we
I don't.
but both times I got scratched was when I got talked into, I guess. I yielded to peer pressure or
Oh,
something like that
no.
on being a little, shall we say, disrespectful. And yeah, that's how I ended up paying for it. So yeah.
Well, see, you taught your kids a valuable lesson in not giving in to peer pressure.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I think there's a time and place for everything. I run my mouth a lot because that's just what I do. But,
Yeah.
if you're in a prison, an old prison, and you walk up to a cell and, excuse me, Mr. Man, may I please talk to you?
Right.
Come on.
Right.
What would a real inmate do if you did that?
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. Exactly.
You got to assert yourself a little bit, no?
That is. Yeah. If that were an actual working prison with a real living inmate there that either bull you over or just ignore you.
Yeah.
Unless you
Exactly.
are.
Yeah.
You got to and I agree. I agree with that 100%. You got to kind of match yourself to the situation and talk on their level. The level of what you can expect to be there. So
So with
One of my favorite investigators is a buddy of mine named Ron Haskett. And the first time I ever seen him investigate, we're at Malvern Manor. He sits down in a chair and he just starts talking like, "Hey guys, I had a really bad day today. You mind if I tell you about it?" And just start talking like he's talking to me,
Right.
And like he got it cooking in there. It's like, well, that's just so refreshing to just talk to them like they're people instead of makes the knocking noise, sign of the presence, like and I'm guilty of that as well.
Oh
But
yeah.
I try to make myself just have conversations anymore.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, hey, I got a question for you. So, when it comes to the Axe Murder House, since primarily it was mostly children, do you take toys in there to try to get them to interact?
A lot of people do. I personally don't think the bear's there at all, to be honest with you, which I'm sure is going to cause some controversy. I think that house is just itself, and I think it's full of things that have nothing at all to do with it. I
Okay.
think people bring stuff, and I think we created it in a sense by allowing people to come in and investigate. I think it's just a melting pot of who knows what. I hope the families in heaven don't care about this at all, having the time of their life. There's
Right.
things that happen in there that aren't something a 11-year-old from 1912 would be doing this to keep the same personality in death that they did in life. No, it's just the 15 years I've been there, I've seen that house change so much. I've done over 400 alone overnights in the house by myself. Every single overnight was completely different from the next. I mean, and I've talked to a lot of people that own haunted locations, and yeah, it's changing nonstop. You know, so I personally don't think they're in there. And I have luck rolling balls to the kids and getting them to roll back. I mean, let's face it, I'm got gigantic beard and I'm covered in tattoos. What kid from 1912 is going to roll a ball to me? Strip danger. Come here, little kid, roll a ball. Like, I'd off running if I was a little kid.
Oh,
So
man.
I just don't have luck with that.
Okay.
But I've seen a lot of, like, teachers and nurses and females have had awesome luck with that. But I also think the house gives you what you're looking for. Creepy way.
Yeah.
Well, if you look long enough, you're going to find what you're looking for. You know?
Right.
I mean,
So
Absolutely. And, you know, and kind of what makes me think that, I guess I should kind of back it up with, well, in 1918, Reverend Kelly, the minister that confessed to it, said that voices told him ride through Slay and eat. He went for a walk, and he ended up across the street, and a shadow came out of the backyard, handed him the axe. Like, nobody's talking about shadow figures in 1918. They just thought this guy's crazy, whatever. People would go in there, would, you know, flash forward to year 2013. People are doing e-sessions. Tell me who did this. They're all getting different names, and nobody had ever heard of the names until I went back through the old detective notes. So detectives question people for 5 years. Like, 5 years is a lot of gossip in a small town about a murder. There weren't 2 or 3 suspects. There were hundreds. Everybody in town was a suspect at some point. So I started seeing these names, like the guy who owned the shoe store was a suspect for about a day because he got enough JD about parking his horse and buggy in front of his shop. He quickly dismissed, but that guy's name comes out via EVP. So at that point, I was like, whatever is in here is just messing with people, which is super creepy. That's kind of where I came up with, I don't even think the family's in there at this point.
that's really interesting. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
You know, who knows, like, with a shadow figure, if Kelly and a shadow figure told him to kill, was something here before the murders even happened?
Right. Right. You know, there's a lot of stuff, and even, you know, because kind of what you, I can't remember where you said you saw it, but the little stick figure. But there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that's been around. It may not necessarily have anything to do with that house. Even it might be something that was on that ground centuries before that house was built. You know, so
Absolutely. And, you know, there's no Veliscas anywhere on the planet. This is the only Velisca on planet Earth, because it's not Velisca, it's Liska, which there's a book at the library called Iowa People, Places, History, Names, and it said Waliska was in the Meskwaki language founded by the Sac and Fox Native Americans. And the Meskwaki language meant evil.
right.
And it's like, whoa, okay. That's what this town is.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool.
There was one of the TV shows, and they're like, oh, this is a gold mine. And they started the show, Veluska, the very town means Satan. I'm like, no, quite. Sorry.
Wow. So I know you said of course you've naturally you've been to the Velisca house. You've done lots of stuff at the Velisca house. So you've been to Malvern Manor, and where else have you been?
Oh man, like becoming best buddies with my brother Nick Groff, and Lee and Jennifer Kirkland. We're doing the Nick Groff tours, and so kind of involved me in a lot of those. So I've been lucky to be like Ashmore Estates, State Reformatory, Missouri State Pen, serial killer houses, like old asylums, just all over the place.
Very
From
cool.
East Coast to West Coast.
Wow.
I've been fortunate enough to get into a lot of this that I wouldn't be able to get into by myself. So Lee and Jennifer and Nick, like Jeff, like everybody involved, and I owe all my experience to for sure. But and I'm not like tooting my horn or anything, but like I still love Villisca. Like the evidence that comes out of there is just phenomenal,
Yeah. Well,
When I
yeah, I've watched a lot of shows. I think I've probably seen pretty much every show that's ever been made on that house, and I was telling just before we brought you on, I was telling Stephanie that Villisca has always kind of been one of my bucket list places, So I've really. I've seen a lot of stuff there that was just absolutely amazing. As far as like footage, at least what they show on TV and stuff. And I've seen some other stuff that, there was one show in particular that did an investigation there that I didn't think really did it justice. But other than that, it was just. It's all of the stuff I've seen from there has been really cool. The Kling brothers went there, right?
Yep. And that was one of my, the evidence that Brad and Barry got was probably some of my favorite evidence from that house.
Mm-hmm.
They put up their data loggers throughout the place, and of course, they had the mobile lab that was just unbelievable. The technology they were running through there. So these staters are looking for atmospheric changes, EMF, static electricity, the normal.
Right.
And if you get hits, it blasts it to this computer that's like a 3D model of the house. It shows where it's at. Looked out of a closet, went to one bed, another bed, the parents' bed, down the steps to the bedroom where Ina and Lena were in, and then disappeared. So like these high spikes at EMF took the path that the killer probably took, and I think they named the episode "The Path of a Killer." And they had electricians come out, measure the lines around the house, make sure there's not like leaking EMF. And they're like, well, it's good, it's shielded. If there was, it would be a base level. It wouldn't be here, then gone, and there, And they all had it mapped out, and it's pretty incredible that they caught that.
Wow.
That's awesome. I remember that show. The team that I was running at the time that Ghost Lab was on the air was briefly affiliated with their network, and so we had a little bit of a few like inside tracks, not a whole lot, but a few inside tracks. But you're right, the technology that they used was really cool. I really appreciated that approach that they took.
And what I love the most about them, dudes are traveling around with their own private barbecue grill and barbecuer. Just the most Texas barbecue at every location they go to.
That's the Texan coming out in them.
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe it. This dude had this big double barrel like barbecue smoker, and I'm like, what's happening? I think they spent probably $500 at the grocery store buying steaks. I was like, these guys know stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God.
And there's a lot to the picture that like I'm Mary Peckham's house. The lady that found them, it's on the same plot of land. It's right like 15 feet away from the Axe house. And so our kids used to play over at Mary's house. She was like a grandma to them. And I mean, there's so much that happens at my house that directly correlates with South. And I haven't really let any shows tackle, per se.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's for instance, my daughter texts me at 3 in the morning. I don't know why she texted me instead of calling me. And she's like, Dad, I'm stuck in the bathroom. The door won't open. I'm hearing giggling and crying, or humming and crying. I'm like, what? And so I go and the door was stuck. I think it was the house was the humidity, get the door open. She's freaked out, and I know my daughter well enough. Like, this stuff doesn't freak her out. Next day, I get a hold of the overnights that were at the X house, and I said I had to be them out in the yard or something. I said, well, what were you guys doing at this exact time? And my ghost hunters, they had it all mapped out, timed exactly for what they were doing, and down to the minute,
Right.
And they go, oh, we were in the attic doing the EP session right then. It's like, oh, well, it wasn't them. And then they come back with, it was really active the entire night. Right at that moment, it got super weirdly quiet. And I thought, I wonder if it is the kids over there. Did they come over to my house? Was that the humming and crying?
Wow, that's that actually wouldn't surprise me. One of the guys that's watching, he works in a place that's very active, and one of the little spirits there follows him around on a regular basis. I mean, he lives in Dodge City, Kansas. We live near Wichita, and even times when he's come down to Wichita, that there's been times when we have gathered evidence that this little female ghost has followed him all the way from Dodge City to Wichita.
Wow.
You know? So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It doesn't, because I tend to approach things from a more metaphysical side of things, but there are connections that energies can make. And attachments, and if these spirits find someone that they trust or that they are comfortable with, I mean, who's to say? I honestly don't think a spirit is necessarily tied down to one place. They're just generally there more often because that's where they're comfortable.
Yeah, I've never heard of a ghost being trapped in a Beetlejuice with a sandworm.
Right, right.
One of my good friends, John Tinton, was talking to him about it. He's like, okay, if there's a 2-story house and a guy was killed on the second story and must have been demolished 100 years ago, is there a ghost walking around 20 foot up in the air? Like, just weird ways of thinking about it.
Right.
When we moved into this house, my daughter was 3 at the time, talking about Hattie this, Hattie that, Hattie. And wouldn't sleep in her room because Hattie scares her. And finally, I'm like, who is Hattie? She goes, that's the woman who lives upstairs. I'm like, you're a creepy-ass kid, man. Darwin passed away. I was going over the deeds of the house. It was Mary Peckham, day of the Moore funeral, and still under girl's funeral, was hauled off to Montana. She died 6 months later from a nervous breakdown. The house went to her adult daughter, Hattie Peckham, whose bedroom was my daughter's bedroom. So flash forward many years, I'm giving my son a bath. He's 2 years old at the time. He's in the tub going, "Bye, Grace," like the 2 names he knows. Then he looks up at the ceiling and he goes, "Bye, Hattie." I go, "What?"
Whoa.
"Bye, Hattie." He's 2 years old. He doesn't know that story at all. So then 2 weeks ago, my part-timer, or other like seasonal guide at the Axe House, Shelby, texts me. She goes, somebody's here for a tour that said they lived in your house in the 80s. So like, unless you want some random knocking at your door and coming in, like, leave, I said, I don't care. So I let them in, and they're like, "Oh, it's changed so much," and just small talk. And then it's quiet for. She goes, "Weird stuff happened when I was here when I was a little kid." She goes, "It didn't scary. It seemed comforting. It was like an old lady, and I had a name for her. It started with an H. I can't remember. Like Hattie. It's like that's it. So that's like the same story, just confirmed 3 times in a row. Just I don't know. You just can't make it up.
No, you can't make it up, and especially
That's
like
awesome.
when it comes to kids, that's like our 3-year-old Johnny. A couple weeks ago, it's maybe I don't know. Time's like a blur. This year's like completely a blur to me. But anyways, Jeremiah was at work, and none of our other children. We have like a football team amount of children. Not really. There's just 7. That's all. 7. We have a lot of kids, man. But so our 3-year-old, she's sitting eating dinner in my dining room, at the dining room table, and I'm in the kitchen, and all of a sudden she just like looks up over towards like the garage door, and we have like a bookshelf to buy it, and she's like, "Hi, Lennon." Lennon's my 12-year-old son, and he wasn't there. And I'm looking over, and I'm like, "Sophie, do you see Lennon?" And she's like, "Yeah, over there." She pointed, and I'm just like, "Oh, hi, Lennon." Like, I don't see him, and I'm like, and I know he's not there, so I'm like, okay, she's seeing somebody, right? And then, she went back to, eating, and then, a couple minutes later, she starts waving. She's like, "Bye, Lennon." And then she goes back to eating, and I'm just like, damn, like I do, man. I have no doubt, like kids can see stuff, and it's, and I'm the parent where it's like, if my kid says, "I saw something," I'm like, "Ooh, you did? Let's talk about it. Where did you see it?" But I'm probably gonna scar my kids for life. But no, I do. I believe that all children do have the ability to see spirits, and things that we can't explain. But, we're conditioned from a young age that we're taught like, oh, there's nothing there. It's all in your imagination. I don't believe that. I do believe that kids can see things and have experiences. And, I that's just my belief. But yeah, man, when Sophie looked up and starts like, "Oh, hi, Lennon," and I'm like, "Oh my God, who's here?" It's not my kid.
And see that brings me back to like the never ever ever let children investigate. Man, they're seeing more ghosts than we are, and we're out every weekend. Why not? Well, no, you're not seeing.
That's it.
You're not old enough.
That's it, man. You need to just get yourself, Johnny. You need to just get yourself like a daycare advertisement, and get you a slew of toddlers and take them on these investigations.
We're just a junior ghost hunting academy.
There you go.
We're gonna have to get Choppy in here. We need Chip in to make sure it's all on the up and up and help these kids.
Instead of the little urban achievers. Hat tip to The Big Lebowski. God, I love that movie. Anyways, I'd be like the little urban ghost hunters. Underprivileged children that are given a chance.
And then, my daughter, like the teacher asked what she's going to be when she grew up, and she grows up, she's a stunner. I'm like, yeah, there we go. But, so have you ever seen Napoleon Dynamite?
What?
Have you seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite?
Oh, yes. In theaters when it came out. Yes, I did.
Okay, so when he's doing the essay on Loch Ness Monster, and everybody's dying, look, I did that. That was me in 7th grade. And so I'm doing this essay, and I'm like, he is known to, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody's dying laughing, and the teacher's like, interrupted. She's like, "Stop. Just stop this. You'll never, ever have a life worth anything talking about this."
Wow.
Whatever she called it. And I'm like, "Screw you, teacher. I did too."
Does it make you want to is she still living? Like, does it make you want to track her down and be like, I told you this, in your face. I told you so, or whatever. Like on her deathbed.
Absolutely.
On her deathbed.
But I guarantee she's at the bar right now, half drunk because she hates life and hates her job and hates a little kid. And I do a lot of like different school talks and stuff. And I finish with that. It's like, that's why we live in this country, and that's why all these veterans sacrifice everything. So you can do what you want to do. Like, don't anyone tell you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because you can.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's like with our kiddos, we constantly are telling them, because in-house we have, Sophie's 3, and then we've got 2 11-year-olds, a 12-year-old, and a 13-year-old, and we're constantly telling the older kids, like, hey, if you guys want to go to college, that's great. Make sure you can get a career that you can actually, 1, pay off your student debt, student loan debt, and 2, find something you're passionate about. But if you guys don't want to go to college, just find something that, you can make a living at, because not everybody goes to college. And, like, people who do go to college, that's great, get an education, but it's not for everybody. And I'm very much a firm believer that, it's not for everybody.
Right. Everyone has a different skill set, different set of gifts, a different passion.
If you want to grow up and be a fucking ghost hunter, then by God, you do it, and you do the best that you possibly can.
Right, because tell me one person that knows exactly what they want to do for the rest of their life at 18 years old.
Right.
Like, I still have no idea what I want to be when I grow up. It's like, but these kids are forced to make that decision and then come out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt right off the bat.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Start.
For sure. So I gotta ask, talking about. Oh, go ahead.
The main thing I teach my kids is believe what anyone in a suit and tie standing in front of a crowd is telling you. Do your own research.
Oh yeah.
Up yourself.
Yeah.
So, okay, I gotta ask, so switching topics just a little bit, what about aliens? Do you believe in aliens, Johnny?
What's that?
Do you believe in aliens?
Am I the only one that was paying attention like 3 months ago when the Pentagon came out and said we have in our possession off-world vehicles? Like, nobody cared.
Nobody freaking said. Yeah, it wasn't even like making headlines. And I'm like, did I just read that? What? They're not denying it? What? Are they already here? I bet they are.
And now, there's a post where there's radio signals coming from the clouds of Venus, they said.
What?
And it's like, it's at New York Times.
Oh my God, I have not heard of this. I have not.
NASA is now saying, forget Mars. We need to be looking at Venus because there's actual signs of life coming from there.
What?
There's a planet that has water not far from us. Like, it's mathematically impossible. Okay, in the ever-expanding infinite cosmos, if we are the only form of life, how special does that make us? And 2, how bad are we just screwing, man?
Right. Yeah.
So I believe in aliens more than I do ghosts. And I absolutely think ghosts are real, but I mean, aliens have been like my jam from day one for sure. Absolutely.
Oh God, I believe in aliens to the point that they really freak me out. Like the idea, like I love the concept of, there is life out there, and who knows, they're probably wearing, Edgar suits walking around. But God, I love that movie. Anyways, but the actual thought of like being abducted like scares the shit out of me. Like I have a very real fear of, being abducted. Maybe I was abducted at a young age and have no recollection of it, whatever. But I have this very real fear of being abducted by aliens. I hope they're not listening.
Josh Hurd is the exact same. He's terrified. I'm like, okay, if aliens have the ability to time and space in these vehicles with no propulsion, they're so far more advanced than us.
Oh
I
yeah.
like to think that war and hate is a thing, the past for them.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yep.
You know,
and
if
I'm kind of done with this planet. Like, let's roll with the aliens, man. Pick me up.
beam me up. Beam me up. Yeah. Well, it's like just before we got on, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a meme and it was like, my next life, I'm not reincarnating on Earth, just saying.
Right. And, you know, for me, it's not like the protests and stuff. Like, kids are supposed to protest. Kids have always protested. Look at the 60s or 50s. You know, it's going to be their house one day.
Yeah.
The reason I want to get off this planet are the people hoarding toilet paper and paper towels again.
Right.
If you're in a survival situation, those are the two things you
Yeah.
the least.
I was pretty perplexed at the whole toilet paper thing. Like, I'm like, seriously, like, people are panicking and you're supposed to stock up and you want to stock up to wipe your ass? Like, what?
I mean,
Yeah, it's not.
Very odd. Very fucking
It's-
odd.
I've
so
been
weird.
I've been trying to I've been trying since March to put my thoughts on that into words, and I still haven't succeeded. It's just ridiculous,
You know,
but
I feel like if it really was the end of the world, man, humanity's doomed. You know?
Oh man,
I mean, my
humanity
God.
has turned into Jerry Springer Kardashians talk. Like, that is what we've come to at this point. I guarantee you, when aliens pass Earth, they roll up the windows and lock the door.
right.
100%.
That's awesome. Yep.
Oh my God. I'm sure that we're just one big reality TV show to them. Like, it's terrible.
The pure level of stupidity is just like, oh my gosh. I can't even get on Facebook anymore. It's just mind-numbing. I can't believe it.
It's dumbing us down as we
Yeah.
speak. That was their plan all along, right? God.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Didn't take too long.
No,
Like,
that's
a few months.
That's even the worst
6
part.
months they accomplished it.
God.
Well, it's like we were. Of course, the subject matter was completely different. What did I just do? I just turned something off here.
I do not know.
But the subject matter was completely different. But I was. We were talking about with another guest on a previous show. We were talking about how far civilization has come. And, you know, not to sound like, an ancient aliens conspiracy theorist, but although that really is kind of what I am, but I personally believe that we have lost more knowledge in the last 2,000-3,000 years than we will ever gain again.
Yeah.
You know, it's
for
crazy.
sure.
Well, and think about it, as technology is getting more advanced, the dumber we're getting, because it's like we have at our fingertips, this device that you can look up anything you want to, and people are just, I don't know. I think the more advanced technology gets, the dumber people get. I don't know.
And say there's a solar flare that wipes out the power grid. That's happened before.
Dude!
It happened back in the day to when it didn't bother anyone. But if that happened today,
Oh my God.
or if a cyber hacker or a terrorist attack, nobody's out of farm. Well, I mean, we're in the Midwest. We're good.
Yeah.
We can farm
Yeah.
and fish and hunt, but
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah, most people
Los
would be
Angeles,
screwed.
what are they going to do?
They're not going to know what to do. I mean, they'll just break down.
Yep.
But it's
And it would've-
interesting.
I mean, we've seen how quickly it broke already.
Yeah.
It would take a week, and it'd be Mad Max.
Oh yeah, for real, man, for real, man. That's such a good. I love that movie. I love that movie.
I've been secret assembling my Mad Max gang. by
There
the
you
way,
go.
too.
There you go. Oh my God. Speaking of solar flares, like that's kind of weird because like last night one of our daughters came in and said, "Do you realize that for the next 5 years the sun's in a phase where there potentially could be a solar flare that could hit Earth?" And I'm like, "What? I can't handle this right now."
Who had solar flares for December?
God, right?
The last, I believe, was like in the 1920s or 30s. I might be getting that date wrong. But it like legit wiped out the power grid. And like I said, no, there wasn't a whole lot of power grid back then. So people were just kind of like, whatever. And if that was to happen today, like, can people go months? And it'd take forever for them to repair the entire thing.
Right.
Can we go months and months without heat, electricity, lights, car, grocery stores?
Watch, it's
Water,
all gonna be it's
you
all gonna be planned out, and there's gonna be this massive wiping out of all technology, and then you know who's gonna be shining star? Bill Gates. He's gonna be coming through to save the day.
Oh God.
Yeah. There's artificial intelligence that Elon Musk was warning about.
Yep.
Wow.
But I live in Villisca, Iowa, so it'll be a good 50 years before that even makes it here. We're like that far behind.
Well, we're in fucking Kansas,
We're good.
okay? We're in Kansas. I think we've got more time than you do.
Yeah. We're good. We need to find like a compound.
We've
and,
talked,
like,
Jeremiah.
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, Jeremiah and I have talked about that actually.
Yeah.
We've talked about because we've got some land.
We have a place, Johnny.
We have a place if you need somewhere to go.
Nice.
We do.
What's funny is like one thing that I've always taught my kids is legit. It's like in a doomsday scenario, we get separated to meet at my parents' house. They have like 40-acre Ozarks. Like anything ever happens, anything goes down, like Red Dawn or whatever,
Yeah.
and we get separated. That's meet up.
We have had that similar conversation with like the older kids and a few people.
Yeah.
It's like, but we got to conserve resources because, like I said, we got a fucking football team of children here, so we have to be selective. But but, I mean, we're not assholes. We would, if somebody can fucking find it, then they're welcome to stay. I'll put it that way. It is in BFE. It's in BFE. Like there is nothing. I mean, it's and like even like directions to get there. It's like, well, you turn on this road and then you wind around and you go through Dead Man's Gulch and you, like growing up, going over to this place. Like my mom always had these stories about her grandma. The way that her grandma kept all of her grandkids like from wandering away from the house at night in the summer was she said, now when the sun goes down, the crazy man roams the hills, and I mean shit like that.
Watch that be true. There is a
Right?
It actually wouldn't surprise me. We've had some experiences out there. I mean,
Well,
there's been some crazy shit happen out there that,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some shit. But it's interesting because, well, no, like seriously though, like this land has been in my family since like the 1800s. Like my kids are like the 6th generation, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
that land like the back of your hand, like.
Oh yeah,
you're
like
good.
and that's why I'm so like grateful. Like my kids, I grew up going out there and spending time because nobody actually like lives out there. Like we have a house and stuff, and we can go stay out there, but nobody actually currently lives out there. But I have all these memories of my grandparents, growing up going out there, and my kids now, since they were little, they have always gone out. I mean, they'll grow up the same thing, and then and then I'm having my crisis about, oh God, what are we gonna do when we hand it down to the kids? How is this gonna work? We could hand it down to the whole football team. I don't know.
Let them figure it out. Let them fight for it.
Exactly. But yeah, seriously, if the shit ever hits the fan, I mean it. Like we're heading for the hills. What can I say?
Yep.
Speaking of the shit hitting the fan, man, I keep seeing all these, like posts on Facebook about, like talking about Civil War. Civil War's coming. Civil War's coming. And I'm just like, oh my God.
I'm so over it.
Yeah. Let's just get through the next couple days. I just want it to be over. And we'll know if
And
there's...
like if there's another Civil War, it wouldn't be like Gettysburg. It would be like Egypt or the Middle East. The people eating dinner on one block, and then 2 blocks away, buildings are burning.
Yeah.
Just very sporadic, and but I mean, everybody wants civil unrest and war until war starts, and then they realize that this ain't fun.
Right.
It would be just like the first fight of the Civil War, where all this is so romantic and people are picnicking watching it, and as soon as it's real, it's like, oh, this sucks. This sucks really bad.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a lot different than the video games and movies.
Yeah. Jesus.
So
I think people will move on and hate something else. And then
Inevitably.
when they're done hating that, then they'll find something else to hate. I mean,
See, and I wish that every single person that had hate in their heart, I could just send them some clear quartz, and everything would be fine.
wouldn't that be the world?
In the world in Stephanie's mind. I like I like my delusion here.
I grew up in a time where the only people that watched debates were like grandma and grandpa, like old, so boring stuff.
Yeah.
And Republicans and Democrats sit and disagree, but still love each other.
Exactly.
That was in a world not too far away, not too long ago.
Yeah. Now
Now it's just like drawing the line. You're this or you're this. It's Crips and Bloods.
Yeah, I know, right? And then you throw social media into the mix, and
That's
just gets
adding
even
fuel
worse.
on the fire, man. It's just adding fuel. You know, Johnny, I've had a relationship with Facebook for so long that I'm like, damn, that's my longest relationship ever. Like, I can't get rid of it. I can't get rid of it, man.
Right. And it's just an echo chamber. It's just echoing their own personal beliefs, and they only surround themselves with other people's beliefs that are exactly the same, and you never listen to any other thoughts or any other ideas. You got to listen to ideas and thoughts, because that's how you grow and learn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're just echoing your own thoughts with your own community on your own social platform, you're not learning.
Exactly. There's no room for any growth or evolution there. So
Yeah.
Johnny, I hate to say it, but it's 20 after 8. We've been going at this for over an hour, so we're gonna have to jump off of here.
Holy shit! Is it really?
Yeah.
After 8?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I think we pretty much solved the world's problems at
Yes.
this point.
Yeah,
We can just,
absolutely. Hell
Yes.
yeah.
package this up, send it to the Pentagon, and everything's going to be good.
And if there are any aliens watching, just know I do not want to be abducted. Please spare my house. Go to the next.
Hey, come on by. Let me grab some Bush Light before we take off, guys. Fly wherever.
Oh my God. All right, man. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on. Johnny, normally I'm a lot more talkative on our podcast, but I kind of let Jeremiah take the lead on this one, because when it comes to like the paranormal stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's all you, honey. I enjoy it, I enjoy a good psychic. What can I say? But you know what I mean? Like, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm going to start talking. What can I say?
I just, I'll do some of these. It's like, okay, we can talk about this, then this. It's like, it's just roll. Because once my mouth starts, who knows where we're going at that point.
Yes.
That's actually the way we like it. We prefer to have a conversation.
Let the conversation evolve naturally.
Exactly.
Go with the flow. I gotta
conversation, not an interview.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck yeah. I gotta ask, do you ever get tired of talking about the Axe Murder House? Like, do you ever get tired of it? Talking about it?
Not really. You know, I mean, sometimes it's like I feel like Kurt Cobain with "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
Oh God! Can you imagine?
It's a really good song, but
Oh.
I have a lot of other songs. But then I know that I have a love for the house because I wouldn't be doing this right now if it wasn't for the Axe Murder House and like
So it's
those
your.
kids. What happened like deserves to be told forever.
Oh yeah. So you like found your passion and you're like living that shit daily. That's awesome. I'm always happy when.
Living the dream.
Yes. Living the fucking nightmare.
Right?
God, I mean
Exactly.
it. Like, what the fuck? Like, can you imagine the person who like walked in and found that scene? Oh my God. I wouldn't want to.
Every day at the X House during day tours and stuff, like I'll tell the story in history, and then they come talk to me afterwards, and it turns into conversations like this. And like it's like a weird psychologist over at the house. Like people will come, and then pretty soon they start telling me about how they're getting a divorce or they caught so and so their husband doing this, and like spilling their guts to me, and I'm just like offering my advice. You know, and it's just neat. I just love human interaction and
Oh,
meeting
yeah.
people of all walks of life
Oh
and
yeah.
finding that common bond between the two of you, you know, and just talking to people.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
we were
what
talk-
we do.
we
That's
were
what
talking
do.
about that the other night. You know, that's on the show. That's that as far as I'm concerned, that kind of shit's all what life's all about. You know, that is the meaning of life
Yeah.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, that's
Like
well,
I just love everybody. It takes a lot of effort to hate, you know.
Johnny, I'm
And
gonna.
to be a jerk.
I think I'm gonna mail you some clear quartz. That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
It's so much easier just to be cool, and I think the 1% people we see on the news are just 1% of everybody. You know, I'm a Christian. I've met Satanists. I've met every faith, and like, I don't hate you. Do you hate me? No. Cool. Well, according to the news, we're supposed to hate each other.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
you know,
yeah.
you're a Muslim. Oh, I don't care. Care
Yeah.
what anybody does.
That's awesome.
You know, just be a good person.
Yep, I couldn't said it better myself. That's awesome.
For some reason, I have to say this before we get off with him. I feel like somewhere I've seen you in, like, I don't know if it was a poster or something, but it was to do with the Wounded Warriors Project. Am I mistaken, or did I dream that? Or is that a thing for you?
Oh yeah. I was gonna do Johnny Hauser verse. I was going to donate proceeds to Wounded Warriors Project.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's...
that was man. You did your research.
Well, no. It's kind of okay. So let me just say, I had to point that out because, as with you, I noticed that, and it was because I got on and I was watching one of your G Crew episodes, and when you were in your little studio or room or whatever, I saw something that I couldn't see it entirely that it said Wounded Warriors Project, but I kind of deducted that that's what it was. And then one of your other co-hosts on the show had had something framed on his wall, and all I could see was this little red, like, prohibited. So I was like, what the fuck is that? So I reached out and I was like, hey, I gotta ask, like, is there something signed on your wall? Like, what is, I'm sorry, I don't even know this guy. And I'm like, I gotta ask. And so he told me what it was, and I was like, whoa, that's fucking awesome. How the hell did you get a hold? I'm not gonna say what it was. But
Oh, we're gonna say that for him?
Yes.
Okay.
But Johnny, you probably know what I'm talking about. I'm assuming you do. Which is so fucking cool. But yeah, I just wanted to. Are you a veteran?
Yeah. And I donate a lot to the Green Beret Foundation, which specifically take families and children in college, and if you just need money to pay for your life, if your spouse died overseas. I mean, we got to take care of our veterans.
Wow,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Any of
awesome.
this without them.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
in the fact there's
Yes.
I know-
millions of veterans
You probably can't
committing
see it,
suicide
but
and starving.
yeah, you probably can't see it, but you have a slow clap going on in the studio right now. That's awesome.
Thank you
We,
for your
uh,
service, by the way.
Yes, we have. Neither one of us are veterans ourselves, but we have a lot of military in our families collectively, and are a big supporter of veterans causes. So yeah, that's awesome.
You could even post the link or whatever
Yeah.
on the episode thing if you want. We can do that, Johnny.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're always down
And,
for.
you know, there's all kinds of cool, good veteran things that you can, donate to or whatever. But those are like, I mean, there's just so many veterans that are like the 22 people committing
Yeah.
suicide and
22 a
veterans
day.
starving on the
Ooh.
street and homeless right now. Like, come on, man! Like, they chose to give us this life
Yeah.
that we're living, this life of ease.
Yeah.
This is simple times. This is the greatest time to be alive in the history of the easiest time to live. I mean, and then like these guys go over and they're in some third world country, the worst of the worst, and they come back and all anyone cares about Kim Kardashian. That takes a lot to get used to. Like, it's a whole different ball game out there. But
Right.
Anyway,
Well,
that's my rant.
yeah, we will.
Well, honey, you can rant anytime about that on Darkness Live. We
Yep.
will always
Yep.
lend our four
Okay,
ears. Did I actually just say our 4 ears? Well, I guess there are 4 ears. Me and you and our
Our
4
four.
ears.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Uh,
See, I haven't even had a drink. I haven't even had a drink, and it's that whole twin flame energy going on with Jeremiah and myself. He's getting
Right.
he's getting tipsy, and it's affecting me. What can I say?
One last question. Do you have anything you want to plug before we go?
Of course, G Crew podcast.
What does the G
We're-
stand for?
Well, you ask 10 people, you get about 10 different answers. I think, like, of course, Nick Groff is Nick Groff. Like, he's like just the man, But we also like call each other G's because we're like totally into early 90s gangster rap.
Right,
Oh my
right.
God, I love it. Oh my
What's
God, I
up,
love
G?
it.
Back.
G Crew, Groff.
There you
G,
go.
What's up, G?
Okay.
That's
All right,
kind of
cool.
where it took place.
Very cool. All right.
So,
I like it.
yeah, G Crew podcast. I believe now, I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything, but a lot of it, I think we're out on everything from iTunes, Spotify, all the podcast apps, all that stuff. So
Cool.
check it out. We got tons of stuff to be releasing, cool interviews, so it's fun. And then Patreon have a lot of special behind-the-scenes stuff. I think stuff's going to be released on YouTube. It's like a video podcast.
Okay.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Yeah, we'll put links up for everything
Yeah.
on the video description. And man, just thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
This
yeah,
it's
for
been
sure.
a blast.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me anytime.
Yes.
Very cool. So we're going to let you go, but we will we'll hook up again sometime and see what other adventures we can talk about.
So I'm sure I'll have something going on.
Yes. If we're all still here on Earth, right?
Exactly.
damn.
Exactly. I might be doing it from Venus or Uranus, one of the two.
Well,
we
yeah,
go.
well, you'll have by that time you'll have the technology, so just get a hold of us.
There we go. There we go.
Johnny Hauser live from Uranus.
That is the perfect
Dad
slogan.
joke for day.
That is the perfect fucking slogan.
That's
you
awesome.
you need to put that on a fucking bumper sticker, okay?
I need it. Need that to happen.
All right, man. You take care.
Yeah, be safe out there.
And yeah,
You
just
too.
keep living the dream. All right.
Yeah, you too, guys.
All right.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was so fucking awesome.
That was awesome.
I mean, seriously, I was trying really hard to not talk on purpose to give you the opportunity to, get the really good, juicy questions going with the conversation, with him. Because I just feel like that was one hell of an opportunity for us to talk to him, that was amazing that he, took the time to come on and talk with us.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
He was really awesome.
He's always been a really nice. I mean, as far as I know, he's always been just a really nice, really down to earth guy. So,
Yeah.
That's.
He has great taste in sunglasses too.
Yeah.
I noticed. I believe they're Ray-Bans. I wear Ray-Bans. What can I say? I'm a little biased.
She gets the Ray-Bans. I get the cheap gas station QT sunglasses.
Actually, I've never paid for a pair of Ray-Bans, and I've always had them, but I've never bought them. My mother has always given me Ray-Bans, and it's funny because the first pair, because I've never been like growing up and playing tennis for all those years, like they would always bug me. You need to wear sunglasses. You need to wear sunglasses. I never wanted to wear sunglasses, right? Well, then years later. My mom was like, Stephanie, you have this extra pair of sunglasses. You should, do you want them? And I'm like, no. And she's like, she bugged me for months about taking this fucking pair of sunglasses. And finally, one day, she looks at me and she says, Stephanie, if somebody offers you Ray-Bans, you take them. And so I'm like, fine, I'll take the sunglasses. I'll take them. But then she was like, now, if you don't want them, don't give them to anybody else. Just bring them back to me. And I'm like, okay. So sure enough, she knew what she was talking about.
Tell her if she ever has an extra pair of Arnett's laying around, I'll take those.
Well, I don't even know what that means, but so sure enough, I started wearing them, and I finally got because it was always the bridge of my nose. Like thank God I don't need glasses because putting the glasses or whatever right here just always like I don't like that sensation, and so that's why I never have liked sunglasses. But for whatever reason. The Ray-Bans don't, bug the bridge of my nose like other pairs do, and I don't know why that is. Whatever, but yeah. So, since she gave me finally talked me into taking the fucking pair of sunglasses. To this day, I still wear the Ray-Ban sunglasses.
I don't know if he wears Ray-Bans or not, but I mean, just looking at his picture there, I mean, he really looks like he's got more of a ZZ Top feel to me.
He'd
Buy
probably
me a pair of cheap sunglasses.
Well, he'd probably find that as a compliment, I would think, to ZZ Top. But you should totally mail him the Christmas beard bead lights. I bet if we mailed him some, he would totally wear them for his G Crew podcast, maybe. Or maybe I'm totally full of shit, and he'd be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" Right? Yeah. And just remember, you heard it first. Johnny Hauser live from Uranus. Oh my God.
Oh my God, that's
Am I getting
funny.
y'all choked up talking about Uranus? Yeah.
Well, okay.
Wait, that sounded terrible.
Yes, that did. But that's okay.
Let's just move on.
It's all in fun.
So, gotta do, people, don't forget to vote tomorrow.
Yep.
Vote.
If you haven't voted already, vote.
Please, for the love of God,
And
vote. Whatever you vote for,
and then
vote.
batten down the hatches because Civil War will start about 7:00 tomorrow night.
I'm gonna shit my pants if that really happens. Like, what the fuck? Oh wait, we already said we're gonna head to the farm. We're gonna head to the hills.
Yep. I have to work tomorrow. What the fuck?
Yeah, so do I.
Well, I got to work tomorrow night when the Civil War's supposed to start.
No shit. All of our patients are dying anyways. It's okay.
Wow.
I didn't mean that like it came out, okay?
Just stop digging. Stop digging.
I didn't mean that like
Just
it came out.
Stop digging.
Yeah, I'll just stop. I really did not mean that how that came out.
It's astrology, Charles says.
Astrology.
I like it.
I love it.
Oh my God. All right, guys.
I feel like Christy's redneck is coming out because it says, I've already got her did. Oh my God, Christy. I love you.
That's a Larry the Cable Guy reference.
I
Get her
don't know.
done.
Get
Get her done.
That's one that I never could stand.
Really?
No, I
What
liked.
the hell is wrong with you?
I liked Ron White.
Well, I like Ron White
I
too,
just- I
but
never-
I mean, come on.
I never. No, I never could get into Larry the Cable Guy. I never did. I never did.
He's probably my least favorite on the Blue Collar Tour, but I
did. I loved Ron White. Well, I was a little partial because I got to see him when he came to Topeka to the casino. I got to see him live for the stand up. Yeah, it was great. And he had his cigar and his scotch, and
Yeah.
whether it was real scotch or I don't know, but it was his thing. So he's a funny motherfucker too.
Tater salad. Ron, are you Ron Tater Salad White?
Well, I don't know about that, but he had a really actually,
Really?
I'm not gonna.
Really?
No, I do, but I don't think that was his funniest. Like I thought there was some other ones that were really.
Well, I
funny.
didn't say it was his funniest. It's just the one that I remember right off the top of my head.
Well, that is one. That is one. Well, so next week is exciting times. We have
Next
some.
week should be a good show. Mm-hmm. We're gonna try to have a Skype conference video interaction with the She Squatchers.
It's gonna be fucking cool.
It may end up just being phone calls, but we'll see.
We have our hopes set on visual
Yeah.
interaction. But if the shit hits the fan and the technology goes, it was nice to know you all.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back. It just when the
All right, Jeremiah, call it before pre-election day.
Nah, I'm not saying a word.
Why not?
I'm just not.
Well, okay.
It's the wrong podcast for that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, regardless of the outcome, you heard it first. Somebody will win and
Yep.
somebody will lose. And God damn, it's going to go one way or the other.
And whichever way it goes.
We'll be back next Monday.
Okay, so I will end this.
We'll be back
so
next Monday.
I'm not gonna quite end it, but I will say it like this: whichever way it goes.
That's the way it's going to go.
That's what we've got, and everyone just try to make the best of it, because like I always say on IMHO,
Don't be an asshole.
Try to make the world a better place every day, and the easiest way to do that is to just not be an asshole.
Yes. We love you all. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your night, and hope we got you some laughs and some, I don't know.
Well, it was a blast talking to Johnny. So
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yes.
We will be back,
Next Monday.
God's willing, and everything, technologically sound. We'll be back next Monday with the She Squatchers.
Oh, Carl liked my hairdo. Thank you, Carl.
I saw that.
Thank you, Carl. Yeah, people had to chop it all off. I had to chop it all off. Well, I didn't technically chop it off, but somebody did, and yeah.
Well,
I like it.
you got your hair did a little bit different for the show tonight, even than you did last Monday.
You want to know why? It's because the hair right here, constantly was in my eyes at work today. So I was like, "Fuck it, I gotta put it back." So yeah, I'll grow it back out. Eventually
Well,
it'll
that's
grow.
up to you,
Grow
so.
out long.
All right, you you guys, we're rambling now. We're circling the drain, so we're going to get off of here. You guys have a great week.
Yes.
Stay safe. Vote your heart, and we will catch you next week when we keep shaking hands with the shadows.
Bye.
Oh, it didn't transition. There it goes.